Today we're going to be doing a dual cleaning and servicing. We're going to clean and service these two Duracraft window table box fans simultaneously. And we need to ramp up the efficiency of the clean and servicing here because we're running out of summertime. This summer is very rapidly coming to a close, and I want to make sure that I use these this year because I have a ton of nostalgia to these things. They both need just like a light cleaning and servicing. This one, the bearings are pretty stiff, and this one mostly just needs a cleanup. There is a stinking irremovable OK Will sticker on there, which is not okay. So what we're going to do here, which I found works pretty good, is we take the heater and put the heater on and just kind of warm up that sticker for a moment. This works much better than the light bulb, obviously. I sure do get nervous heating up plastic. Absolutely incredible. How I wish I knew about that years ago. It saved me a lot of annoyance trying to get these daggone stickers off. It comes off totally clean. There's a little bit of residue left from when I tried to remove it without the heat initially, but it comes off nice and clean. Okay, that's cooled off. Alright, so now we'll do a quick test of the fans. The white one doesn't really run properly, but I think that the black one will spin up and work okay. Oh, just pulled a Kevin there, blocking the camera. I like these so much. These bring back so many good memories from the 2000s and the early 2010s. Actually, this is working better than I recall. Huh, go figure. The black one is actually stiffer than the white one. I thought it was the exact opposite. I must be thinking of a different white one that I have. I know I have several at this point. I'm going to dig through some stuff tomorrow and see if I can find the rest of them. Alright, let's get these things cleaned and serviced. These are fairly easy to take apart. There is a potential problem. I find that the plastic is not quite as sturdy on the black one. I don't know if the dyes interfere with the integrity of the plastic or whatever the reasoning is, but I have had some situations where this plastic stud that the screw threads into will break off when trying to disconnect the screws. So when I put these back together, I always put them very gently, just enough to close the case and nothing more. That wasn't very tight, so this should be fine. This one is very tight, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hold the plastic stud there with a set of the pliers. Nope, maybe not. Just to reduce some of the force that the screw is putting on it. Alright, that's good. And there is one more screw up at the top. And then we can throw the screws on the floor. Now there's two clips on the top here that need to be pushed in. I guess the other side wasn't very tight. And here's the inside of the fan. This one's pretty dusty. It's got some hours on it. Okay, unfortunately, these have that stupid thing on the blades, holding the blades on. These things are always kind of a pain in the neck to work with. So we'll try to bend this back just a little bit. Okay. And then we'll see if we can kind of pick this up on the side. Like that. As long as that doesn't break, we should be able to put that back on. And there's the blade. And then the motor detaches with these two screws here. Nice about these fans is they use all the same size screws. All 5 of those screws so far are the same size. The wire's a bit of a nuisance to get out because you have to feed the wires through all these little canals. These motors are branded Honeywell. On this cord, the high side is the non-textured side. We're going to take these off. Sometimes these things can be reused if you get them to come off just right. So you can see these were kind of crimped shut, and what we want to do is crimp them again in the opposite direction. So this one was crimped like this, so we want to turn it and then crimp it like this to uncrimp the initial crimping. Whoop, those went pretty well, and we should be able to reuse those. Okay, now the motor is detached from the unit, and work on that separately, and all these plastic parts can now be set aside to be washed. Yes, the cord can get wet, it doesn't matter. No, it's not going to short out. No, you're not going to die. No, it's not going to explode. No, nothing bad's going to happen. Everything will be just fine. Okay, so we'll repeat the same process on this one. That went very well getting this clip off on the other one. That's actually better than usual. These are typically kind of a pain in the neck. I'm going to grab a pick for this one. This one appears to be made out of a different type of metal, and it looks like it's going to be more resilient or more likely to snap. Stop honking, I'm trying to make a video. It just snapped. Sometimes that happens. Alright, so this one we can't reuse. Fortunately this seems to be, oh, it's not stuck on there very well. Well, that's just kind of unfortunate. When that happens, sometimes what we can do is we can drill a hole, very small hole through the shaft, and then pass like a pin through it to keep the blade on. I don't know what these things are called. I bet you could buy these somewhere, but I don't like them. I really don't want to spend any money on them because they're stupid and annoying. This one has regular twist-on wire connectors. Oh, this is soldered. Well, that's good. That's better quality, but for the sake of time here, we're just going to cut it. Okay, now this can be cleaned as well. And you can see the plastic yellowing inside from the heat of the motor. That's great. Stinking plastic. Everything should be metal. I'm going to try to put all this on the top rack because I've never washed these before, so I don't know exactly how resilient the plastic is. I don't think it'll have a problem, but I'd rather minimize the likelihood of there being a problem. not be able to do that. This is not going to work. Okay. Rats. Seriously? Cords don't fall down and then get interfering with the sprayer apparatus. Alright, that should be good. Water's already on. Okay, we'll do the power scouring. We'll put it to pots and pans, and no heated dry, that's unnecessary. And the blades, I'm just going to clean manually in the sink. I don't think that the blades would get damaged from the heat, but I don't know, and I don't want to find out. It's easy enough to wash the blades by hand, we'll just do that. It's the grills that are really time consuming and tedious to wash by hand. That I don't want to do. It's so clean that the water beads up on the surface. That foam really is absolutely incredible. Now we're going to work on the motors. This one we got to sand down the shaft because I drilled a hole through this one to get the replacement situation through this. So we got to sand down the shaft to make sure there's no burrs or anything on there so we can slide off the bearing. You know, we don't have much slack here, but go ahead and try to plug this in if we can. Don't think this is going to work. Probably have to just tack on some new leads to it. Okay, we'll have to put on some new leads. Or actually, you know what we can do? We can strip it back. That should solve the problem. Still not making the connection. There it goes. Alright, let's see if that's enough. Hello? Hello? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? You're a stupid dumb idiot. Go fart in a bag. Anyways, let's see if this bearing is ready to slide off of here now. I think it should be. I don't feel any sharp edges or anything grabbing. If this meets any resistance, we'll stop and do it some more. Oh, we're good. Alright, so we'll clean this off. Oh, now the brush is not over here anymore. Now the brush is over here. Just get all the dust off of here. This is dry, clean, regular household dust. This just comes right off. As opposed to when it's used in like a kitchen or something, or in the presence of the smoking, which is not condoned on the channel. And it's much more difficult to clean up, but this is easy. Alright. For the lubrication, we are going to add some oil inside the wicks here after we clean them out. A quick pass through of some clean ticker towel before we re-lubricate. Yeah, they're a little dirty actually. That's worse than I expected. Alright, now that the bearings are clean, or at least cleaner than they were before, ready to re-lubricate. I'll clean the shaft off a little bit. Seems pretty clean. I think this was just dry. I don't think it was really gummed up like it gets sometimes. We're going to add oil all around the outside of the bearing here because there is a like a felt-like material inside here that will hold the oil, and then the oil permeates into the bearing when it heats up during operation. And it will take quite a few drops usually, even on a small motor like this. On the back bearing we can actually just put a couple drops down in the hole because it won't just come out the other side. And there will become an air pocket when you try to insert the rear. It just takes some time. As you can see, the friction now is very, very low. They're very content bearings. Alright, slip this back on into the motor like this. And I'll put a drop of oil along the front here for when this slides on. Actually, this back bearing is on upside down. It doesn't really matter, but just for the sake of being thorough, we'll swap it around. The sticky Honeywell logo is supposed to be facing up. These do not go very tight, especially on these fans. this portion here was made out of a like a pot metal, and it's fairly poor quality. As these age, they are known to sometimes just like crumble. This one looks like it's in pretty good shape still, but you definitely don't want to give that any extra force. Alright, so now you might find that the thing is very stiff. It's kind of the case here. I'll take a screwdriver and lightly tap it after we just said not to put any extra force on there, and the tapping will free it right up. That was just an issue with the bearings not being aligned. These are self-aligning bearings. They're very easy to work on. Now this is very free and ready to go. I've always found that these fans, especially the second generation, which is this we're working on here, these have very good motor bearings. They seem to last a long time, which is not often the case when it comes to these cheesy C-frame shaded ball motors. Just add an extra drop of oil in there for good measure. Alright, that's as good as it's going to get. Wipe off any excess. Good. That's one motor down. Now we'll move on to the next one. One's a little dustier, but it's the same procedure. Now this one's a little bit sticky. This might have been used near a kitchen. Still coming off pretty easy, but not quite as easy as the other one. Alright, the shaft is pretty dirty, so we're going to go ahead and sand it down. There's a little nick on the end there. We're going to sand it down as well. And once you score the bearing, that's really a pretty catastrophic thing. And there's not really any recovering from that, so definitely want to avoid that at all costs. So I'll just plug this in again, like this. Come on, I'm trying to film! This is really dirty. Gotta make sure you get all the dirt and rust all the way up to the end, right where it goes into the bearing. These bearings are in very sad shape right now. They really need oil. I think we're good. Not really feel anything else there. We'll see. If it hits any resistance, we'll just stop and sand it some more. Curiously, this says year 03, and this says, doesn't say anything. I thought that these were sold in like 06, 07 kind of era, not 03, but maybe they're older than I remember. Or it could be old, the motors could have been old stock, who knows. So this is over 25 years old at this point, which is kind of scary because I remember buying these when they were new. Not this particular fan, but this model. I remember buying these back in the 2000s, mid-2000s or so. Bought them at CVS. I got a black one and a white one. Oh, this motor is a totally different makeup than the other one. So this one has the bolts on the back. instead of the threads. The other one's a little bit easier to deal with. Not by much. I mean, the only thing this adds is now there's a bolt on the back you got to remember to put in, or technically a nut. And there's also lock washers on the back as opposed to the lock washers on the front. That's kind of stupid. Why the heck would you put the lock washers on the back? You're not doing anything because the bolt is held in place, so it can't possibly spin. The lock washer should be on the front. I wonder if that was an assembly error. Okay, good. Right, now that this is opened up, we can get the rest of the dust off of there. Alright. So this one you can see there's a little bit of scoring on the bearing surface. The focus, so that's just from running dry without oil. So this one, I think we're actually going to take this into the garage and we'll polish this up to clean that up. Unless it happens to clean up just with the oil. If it doesn't clean up, we'll spin up the shaft and clean it. Yeah, it's not clean up, so we'll have to take that into the garage and clean that up a little bit. Dust out of there. No problem, we can get that cleaned up. Alright, that's pretty good and clean now. Clean out this one. Back one was pretty clean. Alright, let's go into the garage and we'll get this polished up. Semi-chrome polish. He did only a very trace amount for this. A lot of it goes a long way. I mean, a little goes a long way. I'll do one more shot. It's much better. A little bit on the bottom too, we'll do that as well. Coming a bit loose here. Alright, good. We get rid of all that scoring on the shaft. Looks much better now. Since I already had the apparatus out, I probably should have done both of them, but oh well. The other one was not bad. This is the one that was bad. And since I have the thrust washers off, we'll go ahead and just give those a quick wipe down. Stick these back on. Add some oil. Should have put the oil in prior to that, so it could have been soaking the whole time, but that's fine, don't really matter. Much better. hello. Hello. Who is it? Who is it? You're a stupid dumb face. Your nose is ugly and crooked. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna put the lock washers in front because that's the only way that it would make sense for them to actually do anything. I really think that that might have been an assembly error, which would be uncommon, but it's not unheard of. And the reason why I said it should be this way because the screw head can turn, and the lock washer would try to prevent that. If you put the lock washer on the back of the nut, where the nut sits inside a hexagon or whatever the heck the shape is, the nut can't turn, so the lock washer is serving no purpose being on the back. Not good. Wow, much better than before. Yeah, I should have polished the other one. It does make a difference. That should really just become like standard procedure for servicing motors. And this other one's not bad, but it's not quite as good. Alright, these are ready to go back together. I gotta get a little piece of wire for this other one that's missing the clip. And at this point we're just waiting for the parts to finish washing. Here's all the parts out of the dish, the washer. Everything came out great, nothing got damaged. The logo might be a little bit lighter than it used to be if you look at it up real close. This one I don't think was affected at all. No, definitely not. Oh, this does match the motor, 803. And this one is 06, 906. I have never had anything get damaged in the dishwasher yet, but I guess it's always somewhat of a risk because this stuff's not supposed to be in there. I certainly wouldn't put this in there again, but just the one time when I get stuff from the outside, you just never know where it was used or what's on there. It just makes good sense, and really it's a game changer because it would take me an hour or more to sit here and meticulously clean every single piece, and it never comes out perfectly, and it's annoying and it's tedious. I don't enjoy doing it. This is great. I can put this in there and then I can go work on something else, and then when I come back it's just perfect. Alright, let's get this stuff reassembled and we'll be able to use these tonight and the rest of the week. Turned out to be a beautiful day today. It's currently 82 over 44. So we get the moisture out of the holes where the screws go in. Alright, so let's get the motor reattached. The high side of the cord is the non-textured side. So the non-textured side, which is this, should go to the black wire. Now, these were not soldered from the factory. The other ones were on the white band, but I'm not going to solder these. They're making a good enough connection like this. Alright, and crimp this back. You can usually get away with reusing these things once, sometimes twice. After that, probably not much more, but again, this is not a normal cleaning procedure I would do for routine service. I only went this far because this is one that came in from the outside, and I just wanted to give it a good thorough cleaning before I start using it in my house. Stuff that I use regularly, you know, a couple of blasts of compressed air is really good enough. You know, of course with oil and the bearings and whatever other service is required. Okay, motor is reattached. It's very important to get all these wires in here so they don't come out and potentially get stuck on the blade or something like that during operation. That would be very terrible. Sometimes you gotta go wire by wire with these clips. Okay. Whoa, forgot about that. Yep, and the labeling should face front. It does. Now we'll get the motor secured. Make sure that no wires are getting pinched anywhere. Nope, the wires are going to get pinched. Something's not quite right here. I saw several pinch marks in the wires when I took this apart. So we want to make sure we put it back in such a way that it's not like that. Just for the sake of the electrical safety. Maybe these should stick out the bottom then. Let's try it like that. Kind of makes sense to me. They just sit like that. That feels much better. Yeah, that looks good. I don't see anything getting pinched this time. Hey, there's not a lot of airflow through there at all. Wow. A lot of these are set up like that though. It's a wonder that these things don't overheat. And these shaded pull motors can run pretty hot without getting damaged though. Well, we just kind of created a separate problem here because now these are a little bit too far out. We don't want that to be able to come out and then hit the blades. Maybe if we put the wires on the left and right sides, just so that they're underneath the motor. Maybe that's the best way to do it. Put this on the sides, like this. Okay, that's good. They're secured down there and everything still fits nicely. The motor went right down with no resistance. Okay. This fits a little bit loose now because of the sanding we did on there. Not sanding, the polishing. But this is still intact, so that shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to kind of close this back up and stick it on. There's got to be somebody out there that knows what these are called. What are these called? It would be worthwhile for me to just order a whole box of them at this point. We use them often enough. Just kind of push it back down there. Well, it's not working. Alright, then what we're going to do is we're going to pinch it back down more while it's off, and then we're going to turn it around. Maybe 90 degrees. Oh, it just broke. I hate these things so much. Okay, now I got to drill through the shaft and put a... You know, oh, that is so annoying. I hate these things. You know what, I'm going to try to find out what these are called and order some new ones, because I'm going to have to delay this whole thing out because of this. I'm going to do that now. I just ordered a whole box of those pieces of garbage, so we'll just wait until tomorrow to finish this. But I can put the motor back in this white one. I mean, technically we can use these tonight without those stupid things. It's not going to be a problem. It's really more so that, like, if I'm moving it around, you know, shuffling it into storage or whatever, that's when the blade might fall off. I really don't think it's likely to fall off during normal operation. This motor, I drilled a hole in the shaft because I was just going to put a piece of wire past that through and hold it on. But I didn't realize these were going to fit so loose after the cleaning that it might not completely solve the problem. This one is still fitting tight enough that we can really just forgo it on this one. In fact, the piece of wire would be enough just in case for whatever reason it decided to come off. But since I've got the right thing on order, we'll put them back. Okay, on this one the cord is, high side is non-textured, so the black wire goes to the non-textured side. We'll route the wires the same on this one. We'll do the two wire connections on either side of the winding. Sure, we got a lot of slack to work with here because we had to cut the wires. There's even less slack than there was before. If we just stick them at the bottom like this, maybe they'll hold in place well enough. Yeah, that's fine, I think. Nothing looks pinched. You can see the marks on the wires from where it was pinched when it was assembled at the factory, but it's not pinched anywhere now. The motors are working, or the bearings rather, are working very good now. Both are very content. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this like this. Maybe I'll use these tonight. They're usable as they are. Just can't turn them upside down or anything. Otherwise that blade will come off. I'm not going to put the screws in because I think that the way that the screw is screwed is kind of flaky and I don't want to use it, you know, twice for no reason. So I'm going to just leave them held together by the clips only, which is adequate for now. And then tomorrow, when those things come in, we'll go ahead and put new clips on the shaft, and then we'll screw it back together then. I'll just make sure that these are working now. I'm sure they are. I have no reason to believe they wouldn't be. Oh yeah, those are cranking now. Much better than before. The black one's actually running faster. I really should have polished up the shaft on both. Curiously, these got going right away. I always remember, even when these are brand new, I remember them taking a fair bit of time to, I guess, warm up, if you will, before they reached full speed. Let's make sure low works as well. Yep, it does. Are they in balance? The white one's in very good balance. The black one is in, it's a little bit out. It might be worth trying to balance it. You know what? It might be from the blade being loose on the shaft. I can hear the blade moving up and down on the shaft as it turns around. That might be what the balance issue is. Yeah, no doubt the polishing of the shaft definitely makes a big difference. And that really should be a standard procedure at this point. Alright, we'll pick up again tomorrow when I have those stupid dumb clips in stock. These pieces of garbage came in, so now we can wrap up this Duracraft project and get these officially put back together properly. Let's see what size, if any, fit the shaft. Of course, they're all in plastic film, so we can't even really check them without opening all of them up. I think it's either going to be this size or the size lower. Let's try this size. I'm not sure why these need to be within plastic film, because they're going to, you know, can be contained in that box. Yep, these are the right size. Alright, that's probably something I should have bought a long time ago. It's on there good now. Let's see if it still is out of balance at all. It wasn't bad before, just slightly. It's better now. It's slightly out, but I don't even think it's out enough to be worth trying to fix it. It would be almost impossible with the lousy guess and check method that I have. Nice. These I'm only going to go just barely snug with. That's it. Alright, this one is like new, ready for use. Touch of sticky residue on top from the daggone irremovable Goodwill sticker, but that problem has since been solved now that I learned how to get those off. This one's in almost perfect balance. I can't really feel any vibration at all in low. And the clock of the blades is good too. It too is almost perfect. It's amazing how there was still pretty decent quality items around. Even into the 2000s. This was '06, I believe. And this was still totally acceptable. Even though this was only less than 20 years ago, you can't buy something like this anymore today. Wow, it's crazy to think about these being 20 years old. These are on their way to being vintage, and I think quite a few are going to make it there because they're pretty decent quality. I have so much nostalgia to these, I can't wait to use these. Unfortunately, it's already 62 degrees out, so I don't think we're going to be able to use them tonight, but during the day tomorrow I should be able to use them. Alright, that's a wrap. 2 Duracraft window table fans. Restored to like new condition. One is over 20 years old, the next one is, or the other one rather, is just about there. Both still kicking strong. Those really do move a decent amount of air for the size. These are good fans.